Hi there, I'm Pat, the artist behind Freestyle Fine Art, and today we are going to be mixing oranges. This is a color that a lot of people don't use a whole lot um, outside of like painting sunsets, things like that. I personally am a bit of a fan of it. Mainly because you can use it to kind of dull down your blues pretty easily. So we're going to be starting off with Hansa Yellow Light by Core, and we're going to be mixing it with Quinacridone Red by Core as well, which is a PV19. And as you know, I have some weird feelings about PV19. We're actually going to be looking at another variation of it called Purple Lake by Cotman from Winsor & Newton here pretty soon. Ooh, that's pretty. And by the way, this is the Purple Lake from Cotman is the same as it's the same hue as the red or the purple from Lukas 1862 line. One thing to keep in mind whenever you're mixing oranges, just like when you're mixing greens, that it's a lot of yellow and a little bit of red. At least for the oranges. For the greens, it's a lot of yellow, a little bit of blue. Now we're going to do Quinacridone Crimson, which is a gorgeous color. And again, I went too strong on the red. Quinacridone Crimson is a cool red, and so it'll make a lot of these like more tangerine-ish colors. And here we have that. So now we're going to do our first mixture with Purple Lake, which is this color right here. It's PV19. Most people, or at least not just most people, but most mixes of purple and yellow is going to make a dulled out gray color. But whenever you use this mixture, it makes a really interesting orangey brown. Excuse the noises in the background. My puppy is wandering around. Okay. I'm going to wipe that clean. Next, we're going to be working with Nickel Azo Yellow, also by Core. They are one of my favorite paint companies. I like them because I don't have to use Oxgall at all. That's actually what causes their paint to jet across the paper in that very stereotypical Core fashion. It's their synthetic Oxgall. Again, too heavy on the red. This Nickel Azo Yellow is a great warm red if you're building your own palette. The Hansa Yellow Light is a fantastic cool yellow. Oftentimes, for the most part, the Gamboge and the Nickel Azo Yellow are pretty interchangeable. Now we're going to do Quinacridone Crimson. Still learning this palette. It's a relatively new setup for me. So I have my little color chart off to the side here that I keep referencing. Ooh, that almost looks like a Quinacridone Gold. I am all about that color. Now we're going to do Genuine Rose. I find that there isn't a whole lot of variation with a lot of these oranges. And that's just kind of in general too. That's not just these specific colors that I'm using or anything like that. Like orange doesn't have a lot of variation. It's not like, greens, or it's not as versatile as a lot of the greens and all of that like from my previous video. So this is gamboge, yes. And you see how the gamboge and the nickel azo yellow are very similar. So I'm going to do quinacridone red first, which is right here. Ooh, there goes some red across the paper. Okay. Yo. Okay. That is this mixture. Okay, I gotta take it over. And pyrrole. Never know what to call this color. I'm gonna be a Texan and call it pyrrole. Pyrrole red light and gamboge. Then the quinacridone crimson. And genuine rose. See, a lot of these oranges are turning out, you know, relatively samey. Like, a lot of the colors are looking pretty similar to me. Okay, now we get to do quinacridone gold, which this is an interesting color. Daniel Smith had a quinacridone gold that a lot of people were really in love with. I never got the chance to use it because I believe it was discontinued before I started using watercolor. Gorgeous color. See how those two are really similar? That's a pretty good mixture for quinacridone gold. So now we're going to mix with quinacridone red. Mix that color, then pyrrole red light, which if you have the painting with the Lukas 1862 paints, that is the same color as Cinnabar red. I actually made the mistake of putting both of those colors in this palette. Both PR 255. So now quinacridone crimson. And genuine rose. Genuine rose is such a pretty color. It's a little on the weak side, but I still dig it. Now we're going to use yellow ochre. Oh, clean palette. So now yellow ochre. This is the yellow ochre by Core, the yellow ochre natural, which is weird that they add that clarifier because they don't make an unnatural yellow ochre. It's the only yellow ochre in their line, from what I can see, from what I can tell. So now we're mixing with Quin red. So a lot of people don't actually use yellow ochre because they feel it muddies up their paintings, which I don't feel that it does, as long as you mix it appropriately. Like, you need to understand that this isn't acrylic or oil. These are, transparent layers is what you're mostly working with. And that's one of the reasons a lot of people feel it muddies their paintings, is because it is such an opaque color. But I don't personally see that myself a whole lot. One thing you can do if you don't like yellow ochres, you can use a raw sienna instead. They're generally mixed. They're generally a different pigment number, but they do mix really similarly. So now we're going to do genuine rose. See, that's a wonderful peachy color. This is actually one of my go-to mixtures for Caucasian skin. Is that yellow ochre and genuine rose. Actually, my main go-to is raw sienna, burnt umber, and a little bit of warm red, like a cadmium red. So we're going to do yellow ochre and purple lake. Clean that out real quick before it sets in. Okay. So yeah, those are my oranges for you. Pretty decent colors in here, some interesting mixes. I have to say that if I'm going for like painting like an actual orange, I'd probably use the quinacridone gold Peril Red Light as one of my deeper shadow tones, and then the Hancio Light and Genuine Rose is kind of like a highlighty color, and then going in with like Gamboge Nickel Azo Yellow as the actual highlight. If we're doing like more of a sunsetty thing, I would go with pretty much any of the quinacridone golds, or just using Quin Gold by itself, or even the Quin Crimson and Nickel Azo Yellow mixed together, just because I think that's a gorgeous mixture. But yeah, you should totally make some of these for all of the colors, for all of the secondary and tertiary colors. It really helps you kind of understand the limitations and strengths of your palette, especially if you're starting off with painting. I cannot recommend doing this enough. When I first started off, I did like one of these a day just to kind of warm up whenever I was going to be painting. Now I paint pretty much every single day. So I don't find that I do these a whole lot anymore, especially now that I know kind of how my colors mix. But you should totally like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for making it this far through this video. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Thanks.